If you're a nurse who feels stuck in their soul-sucking job and you want to learn how I was able to completely transition out of nursing into a full-time lash artist, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to take you back to the time when I made the hardest decision I've ever made that's completely changed the game for me, and I hope you're going to gain some valuable insights and takeaways and make them your own. 4 months ago, I made this video. I quit my nursing job to be a lash artist, and from the 300 comments that I got on this video, I was so moved by what you guys had to say, but honestly not so shocked to hear that so many of you share my sentiments about nursing. I loved hearing how that video made some of you feel not as alone in your situation and just kind of normalized things for you and making you feel that it's okay if you want to quit your nursing job. So in this video, I thought I'd share more of the steps leading up to me quitting my nursing job, what was the turning point, how I put my plan into motion, and just share a little bit more in depth about my experience so that you can take what you want from it and maybe get super inspired. So let's get down to it. A lot of you have said that this video inspires and motivates you, but I'm going to tell you right now that that isn't enough to make an actual change. You can feel inspired and feel motivated till the cows come home, but what you really need to do is to take inspired action. So let me take you back 4 years ago to when I was making all these decisions and kind of just dissect exactly what went down. The early signs. If you're ready to quit nursing altogether, there's probably some early indicator signs. Maybe you guys can resonate with this. When my friends and family would ask me, "How's nursing?" I'd reply,
"I hate my job."
If you hate something, that's a pretty strong sentiment and a definite bad sign. Another sign was me and my nursing friends would spend most of our time complaining about management, patients, workload. We talk about leaving our jobs all the time, but for some reason, no one ever actually did anything about it. And it wasn't just us that thought our unit was being ridiculous. We get nurses from the nursing resource pool who would work on different units in the hospital, and they'd always tell me that my unit was one of the most stressful ones to work on, which always led me to thinking like, why am I here? If you're having signs like mine, chances are you're nearing your turning point. When you're making a life-changing decision, there's always that pivotal moment or that turning point where you must decide between walking path A and walking path B. Some say you have to hit rock bottom even before you arrive at this crucial point. Maybe or maybe not, but the turning point is when the pain of staying exactly where you are becomes far greater than the pain of doing something about it. According to Mr. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, it's when it's easier to change than to stay the same. He gives the example of it being easier to take action and feeling insecure to go to the gym than to sit still and experience self-loathing on the couch. For me, my turning point was when it became easier to look for alternatives to nursing and feel like a failure than to let my job ruin my happiness and my marriage. Whether you're hitting rock bottom or not, what's important is that you should know that you don't need to hit rock bottom before you make this turning point. Look at all your early signs. Signs like you're ill all the time, maybe you feel burnt out, you're stressed out AF, or you haven't been yourself for a long time. If you can say, "I can't keep being this version of myself," this is your turning point and it's time to make a plan to take action. I'm finally in this position where I have to take action. I can no longer keep turning up to shifts, going home, and doing this 3 or 4 times a week for the next 30 years. Something had to change. So this time, I'd go home from a shift, sleep, and instead of rinse and repeating, I'm looking for alternatives. In my spare time, I'm researching, brainstorming, asking questions, looking for solutions to my very big problem. But there was a serendipitous moment in my journey. At that time, I got married and it was the first time I ever tried eyelash extensions. And I just remember thinking that if the girl that does my lashes can be as successful as she is and run her own business, then I could too. Fast forward a few months later, after going back and forth many times, battling my insecurities and my doubts, trying to choose between lashes and brows, asking local artists many questions, I finally pulled the trigger and enrolled in a lash course. But beware, because I think a lot of people get stuck here. They do the research thing, but they never actually take the first step that could change everything, like enrolling in a lash course. I think it's because when you're exploring uncharted territory, trying to figure things out, there's a lot of fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of judgment, fear of lack of security. It all starts creeping in, and then you hit a wall and you're like, whoa, 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 like, can I actually do this? Am I insane? What will my family think? Is this a risk I'm actually willing to take? And it's one thing to think about, changing and quitting your job, but it's a whole other thing to actually do it. Why I think people get stuck here is because they want to have everything figured out. Especially if you're the kind of person that's kind of a control freak like I am. You feel incomplete if you don't know every single step of like how you're going to get there and how you're going to make things happen. So what happens? Well, you give up basically. Some common objections probably are, I don't have enough money, I have mouths to feed, I don't have the knowledge, I don't want to let my family down. But the thing is, if the thoughts you're having are all I can'ts, you're never going to quit and you're never going to change. So instead, change your thoughts to what ifs. What if you could find the money? What if you could still find a way to feed your family? What if you could learn what you don't know? And what if you could quit your nursing job and your family learns to accept it? One thing that I wish someone had told me was to take one step at a time and take the next step only. If I had just done that, it wouldn't have taken me months to set my plan in motion. So for me, that next step was putting a deposit on my lash course, and that's definitely not as scary as having to build a business that replaces my nursing income. So if you're in this stage, you need to do a lot of inner work and build up your self-awareness. Do not let those initial thoughts scare you. Learn to separate your thoughts from your identity. In meditation, you learn that you are not your thoughts. They function to protect you, but they're not always true. It's crucial you work through your doubts, through your worries, and instead build a strong sense of belief. If you believe that you will make it work no matter what, you can liberate yourself from this cage that you feel trapped in, making quitting less scary. So many of you in the comment section of my last video expressed fear of quitting because of insert personal circumstance or objection here. But I hope you know that quitting your job doesn't have to be some quick move. You're not all in or you're all out. The beauty of nursing is the flexibility of nursing positions. Nurses can easily find jobs that are full-time, part-time, or casual, and I use that to my advantage. I lashed for 15 hours a week on top of my full-time nursing job for 6 months until I was confident enough that I had reached a bottleneck in my lashing business. Only then did I apply for a part-time position in my unit, which freed up much more time for my business. I then worked as a nurse for 22 hours a week and lashed for 25 to 30 hours a week, and I did that for another 6 months until again I thought I reached another bottleneck. So finally I applied for a casual position on my unit where I'd only have to work at least 1 shift a month. And as soon as I opened up my lashing availability, I was able to lash 30 to 40 hours a week, which is a full-time gig, effectively making enough income to sustain my lifestyle. The whole transition, I felt comfortable and less stressed out because I still had 1 foot in the door with nursing. It's like my plan B, which was my lash business, became my plan A. And my plan A, my nursing job, became my plan B. So there was always a safety net. And finally, the big moment arrived after 9 months of being a casual nurse. I bit the bullet and I quit my nursing job. So you can see that I was able to quit in my own time and I was comfortable the whole way through. I always had savings in my bank, I didn't need to take a loan to open up my business, and I created financial stability in my lash business first before quitting my nursing job. Looking back on my experience, the sole thing that I regret is not getting the wheels in motion to quit nursing sooner. For years, I wanted to leave my nursing job, but I convinced myself that I didn't want to endure the stress of interviewing, of learning the ropes of a new unit, of meeting new colleagues, that apparently that was all harder than potentially finding a job I actually like doing. So for the longest time, I put myself in this box as someone who doesn't like change and who isn't a risk taker. I wish I was smart enough back then to cultivate my self-confidence so that I could blossom and not hide. Things I would do differently. Read self-development and self-help books sooner. If you're someone like who I was, feeling incapable, despises change, the first thing that you need to do is build up your self-confidence, your self-belief, and get inspired. Reading authors like Brené Brown, Elizabeth Gilbert, and Jen Sincero is a good starting point. Keep a journal as a safe place for reflection. You don't need to write in it every day, but when you're in crisis mode, it's a great tool to synthesize your thoughts and be able to collectively see them written out in one area. Your thoughts easily get jumbled up when left unchecked in your mind, and writing them down can help you make sense of your thoughts and feelings. Learn how I make decisions best and what my strategy should be to having a fulfilling life. This might be a bit too woo-woo for some of you, but I feel like knowing this could be super helpful. Kind of like personality tests like Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram, there's this framework called human design that takes when and where you were born and based on your data, gives you a strategy for living your best life. It says that my strategy is to wait for an invitation from a person, from the universe, as a way to guide me into the right direction. And according to my design, I make my best decisions by allowing myself to ride my emotional waves from start to finish before making a conclusion. It's really fascinating, and if this tickles your fancy, I'll drop the link in the description so you can learn more. Ask for help. I think one of the reasons we make things so hard for ourselves is because we don't ask for help or ask for help sooner, making us feel more alone because we apparently have this unique problem that only we can solve. Recently, I've started seeing a naturopath for my brain fog and have been really impressed by her knowledge and her attention to detail. She looks at my health holistically, asking me about my sleep, my lifestyle, my exercise, and my diet. We did blood work and she found out that I had very low vitamin D levels, which can contribute to low moods, depression, and a lack of clarity. So I started supplementing, and within a month, I was feeling way better. I think this could be valuable for someone who is at their most vulnerable state, such as being burned out as a nurse. If you guys have benefits, use them. See a therapist, a massage therapist, a naturopath, a chiropractor, see everyone that you can, and think of it as hiring a support team to support your health and help you live more fully. In conclusion, maybe you're in a difficult situation right now, but no matter what, you are capable of changing your situation and changing your life. Look out for those early signs that tell you something's gotta give. If you've had enough, come to that turning point in your life and don't look the other way. Decide what you're going to do. Are you gonna take path A or are you gonna take path B? Then make a plan of action, setting your plan into motion. Make quitting your nursing job less scary, and then quit over months or years if that's what it takes. In the meantime, do what you can to improve your health and learn more about yourself. Seriously, learn what makes you happy, what fulfills you, what makes you tick. Explore personal growth and hire your super team that will help you optimize your health so you can build up your self-confidence and keep making better and better decisions. And one day you will finally have done it. Quit your job and instead be doing this other thing that you love, like maybe owning a lash business that you freaking love and makes you happy. If you've listened to this video so far, you are incredible. In case no one's ever told you this, you are capable of doing hard things. You are capable of change, and you are capable of living a life well lived, full of joy and pleasure. You have all the tools you need to change your life already within you. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching this video. Go check out that video that I mentioned here if you haven't done so already. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of my next video. I'll see you next time. Bye!